Hello again, everyone. Welcome to Washington Gun Law TV. I'm Washington Gun Law President William Kirk. Thanks for joining me. Hey, oftentimes I get questions about modifications or tinkering with firearms, and I've always said that there is a big difference between modifying a firearm just to take it to the range versus modifying a firearm that you may carry for everyday use. Well, from Ohio, we have a story that I think kind of explains why I say that, or why I coach people to be really particular about what they do with their everyday carry weapons. So today, we're going to have to spend a few minutes and talk about, he fired back in self-defense. So why is this Ohio man going to prison? Okay, so the story that we're talking about comes out of the Southern District of Ohio, Federal Circuit Court there. I want to introduce you to 23-year-old Gianni Dews. You see, Gianni is an Ohio resident who back on November 26th of 2021 went to work at his job at IHOP, got into an altercation with a coworker, left a short time later and waited outside for someone to come pick him up. Short time later, Mr. Dews was confronted by a gentleman who then began to shoot at him, striking him at least once in the leg. Now, I think if we want to slow down for a second, we realize under RCW 98.16.020, subsection 3, Gianni is definitely entitled to use any reasonable force necessary to defend himself. And under RCW 98.16.050, as well as a litany of case law, I think it's pretty obvious that he is in imminent threat of death or serious bodily injury, and therefore Gianni is entitled to use lethal force. Is that what he does? That's exactly what he does. He pulls out his Glock 19 and returns fire. So why is Gianni going to prison? Is it because he was an unlawful felon who should have never been in possession of the firearm to begin with? No. It's because, you see, that Glock 19 of Mr. Dews was equipped with a Glock switch. You see, when Gianni returned fire, it returned in fully automatic fashion. Now, one would think that he, in fact, struck his perpetrator, ending the threat, right? No, he actually never struck him at all. The perpetrator was caught a short time later after a high-speed pursuit. Now, Mr. Dews, who recovered from his injuries, was sentenced last week to 37 months in federal prison for possession of a Glock switch. Now, I've never done a video on Glock switches. I don't really care to get into that area, but I think we all know what Glock switches are. There are devices that are manufactured overseas that can be attached to Glocks and other types of handguns that essentially allow them to turn into almost full auto fire. Not the most efficient use of ammunition, certainly probably not the most proficient way of putting shots on target, as demonstrated by Gianni himself. However, the lesson to be learned here is this. When we put these devices in our everyday carry firearms, we do not know what we are going to get into. We do not know when we are going to get into it, and when that time comes, we better be ready to go. In this case, Mr. Dews, by all accounts, was lawfully armed. He was lawfully allowed to possess that firearm, and had he returned fire with an unmodified Glock, this probably is nothing more than a self-defense shooting. It is the existence of the Glock switch, the use of the Glock switch, that gets Mr. Dews time behind bars. Now, despite the fact that Mr. Dews obviously had a lawful self-defense reason to return fire, the U.S. attorney, well, he took a different attitude, because he was quoted as saying, "Even if you use the firearm in self-defense, it is illegal to possess an automatic weapon like the one used in this case, and you are breaking the law. My office will hold you accountable for these types of firearms, and you will spend time in federal prison." And that is from U.S. Attorney Kenneth Parker, working hard every day to make your community safer. The bottom line is that as lawful and responsible gun owners, we all need to be incredibly conscientious about the firearm that we carry every day, any modifications that we may do to it, because it will absolutely positively be scrutinized by the prosecution if it is used in a self-defense situation. Listen, you may have more questions about gun modifications. If you do, check out this video right here. In the meantime, any other questions? Well, you can always contact us at WashingtonGunLaw.com, or of course you can call us directly at 425-765-0487. Now, let's remember, part of being the lawful and responsible gun owner, like we talk about all the time here at Washington Gun Law, is to know what the law is in every situation and how it applies to you in any instance that you may find yourself. Until next time, thanks for watching. Stay safe.